So come on children, let us continue with the lesson that we were doing last time in Standard 8th Scholarship. And we were doing a lesson in English. And what was the name of the lesson, do you remember? The lesson was voice, active and passive. It was lesson number 4.1 in your scholarship textbook. Now we did a major part of the lesson last time, and we also looked at a particular pattern of questions and we saw some examples also based on that particular pattern. Now today what we'll do is we will continue with the lesson. That is, we will see the remaining question patterns. But before that, before looking at the question patterns, we will first quickly revise what we have learnt about voice. So we saw what is voice last time, and we also saw that voice can be active as well as passive. Okay, so this is part 2 of the video for you. So now let us once again take a look at voice. So what are voice, or what is voice in English grammar? So the voice can be active or passive. Okay, it depends on the way the sentence is framed. So when a sentence is in the active voice, it focuses on what the subject does. So a sentence in the active voice is all about the subject. The subject is given more importance, you can say. Whereas, if the sentence is in passive voice, then the focus is on the action, or the focus is on what is happening rather than who is doing it. Okay, so this is one basic difference between active and passive voice. Now, last time when we looked at voice, we learnt in detail about all this. But once again, let us take a look at the examples of active and passive voice sentences. We will not go back and learn the meaning, etc. We will just take a look at examples of sentences in the active and passive voice. So see, here you have Grandpa planted a rose tree in our garden. Newton discovered gravity. She was making a clay doll. Rajat builds houses. He had watched a movie. I have planted 2 trees. So here the focus is on the subject. So you have Grandpa, you have Newton, you have she, you have Rajat, you have he, you have I, which is the subject in these sentences. Okay, and what are the actions then? Planted is one action, discovered is one action, making is one action, builds is one action, watched is one action, and planted is another action. So these are all the actions. And the focus here in the sentences is on the subject. So these are all examples of sentences in the active voice. Let's move on and let's take a look at examples of sentences in the passive voice. Okay, as against active voice, what is happening in the passive voice? The focus or the importance is given to the action rather than who is doing the action. Okay, for example, look at this. A rose tree in our garden was planted by Grandpa. Alright, then you have gravity was discovered by Newton. So gravity as an idea, as a concept was discovered, which is very, very important. Okay, but as an afterthought, I have added by Newton. So important here is the discovery of gravity. By whom is not very important. Then we have a clay doll was being made by her. Now see here, even if I say a clay doll was being made, it is correct. It will not be wrong. If I do not add by her also, it is fine. Okay, so a clay doll was being made is as correct as a clay doll was being made by her. Now she is the subject here. So see, we are not giving too much importance to the subject. Then we have houses are built by Rajat. A movie had been watched by him. And finally, we have 2 trees have been planted by me. Now children, when we did the lesson last time, when we saw the video, we also looked at 5 rules for active and passive voice. So we saw how the rules are applicable when you change a sentence from the active voice to the passive voice. So all these things we discussed in detail in the previous video. So if you still want certain points, if you still feel that you haven't understood, you can go back and refer to that particular video, part 1 of this lesson. Alright, so this is about what is active voice in short, what is passive voice in short, and some examples of active and passive voice. Okay, now we will move on and we will look at what were the question patterns that we were talking about. Now pattern 1, of course, we have done it. Okay, we have seen what is pattern 1 and we have also solved certain examples based on pattern 1. So we will today be looking at the other patterns. Now which are they? So we have pattern 1 which says choose the correct passive voice construction of the given sentence, which we are already familiar with now. We have already done this. Okay, then we have choose the correct active voice construction of the given sentence, just the opposite of it. You chose the correct passive voice construction. Now you choose the correct active voice construction. Then you have choose the 2 correct sentences in the passive voice. So you will be given 4 sentences, out of which 2 are in the passive voice. Okay, the other might be in the active voice, or they might be wrongly framed sentences. So you cannot say what they might be. But there will be 2 correct sentences in the passive voice which you're supposed to pick out. Alright, pattern 4 will ask you to choose the incorrect sentences in passive voice. So there are certain sentences which are in the passive voice, okay, but they are incorrect. So that you have to pick up. Coming to example 5 or pattern 5, choose the correct pair of active voice, passive voice, verbs. So now verbs, when they are in the active voice and in the passive voice, they undergo a little bit of change, especially the helping verbs. Alright, so here you will have to choose the correct pair. So there will be 4 pairs which are given to you, out of which 3 are not correct and 1 is the right one. So which is the correct one? You have to choose. Coming to the second last pattern, you have fill in the blanks with the correct option. And lastly, you have the question, choose the correct answer for the given question. So sometimes when answering questions also you might make a mistake. So you have to choose the correct answer for the question which will be given to you. Now having seen all these patterns, like I told you, we have already seen what pattern 1 is last time. So we will be directly now moving to pattern 2 and then we will continue doing many examples in the remaining patterns also. So are you ready to get into the second part of the lesson where we will look at question patterns? So here we are with pattern 2. Choose the correct active voice construction of the given sentence. So here you have the work of a carpenter was being learnt by him. Now this sentence is in the passive voice. You have to select out of the 4 options which will be the correct active voice sentence for this particular sentence. So here are your options. He is learning the work of a carpenter. He has learnt the work of a carpenter. He was learning the work of a carpenter. He learns the work of a carpenter. So which do you think is the right option? Which is the right active voice sentence? Which one is it? It is option number 3. He was learning the work of a carpenter. See, was learning has become was being learnt. So you have to keep a close eye on the correct tense also of the verb. Okay, so this is the first example or first question that we are doing today. Moving on, let's go to the next question. That is question 7 in this particular video. A novel will be completed by me in a week. So see, this is in the future. You're going to talk about something which is going to happen in the future. The novel will be completed by me in a week. So will it be I completed the novel in a week? I can complete the novel in a week. I complete the novel in a week, or I will complete the novel in a week. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Which do you think is the right answer? Yes, it is the fourth one. I will complete the novel in a week. Now, if it was in the past tense, then you could have selected the first solution also. But it is not. It is in the future tense. I will. Alright, so remember you have to keep an eye not only on the verb but also on the tense of the verb. Let us now move on to the next example sentence. Has your homework been done by you? So now this is a question in the passive voice. Now you have to find out which will be the right question to ask. You want to mean the same thing and you do not want to change the tense and you do not want to change the meaning also. But it should be in the active voice. So come on, these are the four options. Have you did your homework? Have you done your homework? Are you doing your homework? Or do your homework? Now the fourth one, we can directly cancel it as an option. Why? Because the question is actually a kind of a question. It is an interrogative sentence. Alright? Whereas the last one is not an interrogative sentence. It's an assertive sentence. So we will leave out the fourth option. Out of the remaining three, which one do you think is the right one? It is the second one. Have you done your homework? So this is the active voice. Has your homework been done by you? Is the passive voice. Okay, coming to the second last question in this pattern. Question number 9. The poor were always helped by Charles. So you have these four options. Charles is always helping the poor. Charles always helps the poor. Charles always help the poor. Charles always helped the poor. So again, I will advise you to keep an eye on the tense of the verb. Okay? And then select an answer. So which one is the right answer according to you? Is it 1, 2, 3 or 4? It is the fourth one. Charles always helped the poor. The poor were always helped by Charles. Okay, let's go to the last question in this particular pattern, where you again choose the active voice construction of the given sentence. Question number 10. You have a story will be written by me. So, what will you say for this in the passive voice? I shall write a story. I shall have written a story. I shall be write a story. I have written a story. So, again, pay attention to the tense. So, what will be the right answer? It will be option number 1. I shall write a story. This is something you're talking about the future. I have not written anything. Okay? But I'm saying that I shall write a story. Or I will write a story. Alright? So this was pattern 2 for you, where you chose the correct active voice construction of the given sentence. Let's move on and go to pattern 3, where you will have to choose the 2 correct sentences in the passive voice. 2 correct sentences. So now you will encircle, darken 2 circles, okay, for your answer to be right. So here we have the sentences. The man cuts down the tree. I was kept waiting. A grand party had been held. The servant opened the door. So out of these 4 sentences, which 2 are in the passive voice? What do you think? The first, second, or the second and third, or the third and fourth, or the first and fourth? So which 2 sentences are in the passive voice? So let's see. So you have the second one, I was kept waiting, in the passive voice. And then you have the third one, a grand party had been held, in the passive voice. Okay, coming to the next question. He was rewarded by the king. Promises should be kept. The servant opened the door. A grand party had been held. Again, 1 and 2 or 2 and 3 or 3 and 4. So which two are the correct sentences? You have the second one. Promises should be kept. And you have the fourth one. A grand party had been held. Okay, let's move on and go to the next question. The bank was looted yesterday. I shall eat mangoes in summer. Dasara is celebrated all over India. The manager drove him out of the office. So come on, which ones are the passive voice sentences? So the first one, the bank was looted yesterday, is in the passive voice. And Dasara is celebrated all over India is again in the passive voice. I shall eat mangoes is in the active voice. The manager drove him out is in the active voice. So option number 1 and 3 are the correct options. Alright children, now we come to the next example in this pattern. The hen laid 4 eggs. He repaired my car. He will be warned of the danger. Many stories have been written by Tagore. So which two sentences are in the passive voice? Sentence number 3, he will be warned of the danger. And sentence number 4, many stories have been written by Tagore. These are in the passive voice. Alright, so are you finding these questions and examples easy? So you have to pick up 2 sentences, 2 options in these kind of questions. Okay, we come to the last example in this pattern. Use this money for the welfare of the poor. Let this money should be used for the welfare of the poor. The children had been warned by the watchman. The house was built by an expert. So which 2 sentences are in the passive voice here, children? So sentence number 3, the children had been warned by the watchman is in the passive voice. And sentence number 4, the house was built by an expert is in the passive voice. Alright, so that was pattern 3 for you, where you selected the correct sentences in passive voice and also you had 2 sentences which were in the passive voice. Okay, let us now move on to pattern 4, where you choose the incorrect sentence in passive voice. So there are 4 sentences, out of which 3 are correct, 1 is not right. So now you're going to select that one which is not correct or not right. So can we start? So here we go. Sentence number 1 says, we were driven home by Dad. This bridge was built by the army. The waves washed away the sand castles. The house has been painted by workmen. So these are the 4 sentences, out of which one is not in the passive voice? It is sentence number 3 which is not in the passive voice. The waves washed away the sand castles. Okay, so the waves are the subject here and it is given more importance. Coming to the next example in pattern 4. We were driven home by Dad. I do the work. The candle was lit by him. A cake was ordered for his birthday. Again, which one is not in the active voice? Not in the passive voice, that is, it is in the active voice. It is sentence number 2. I do the work is in the active voice. If you have to make it passive, what will you say? The work is being done by me. Alright, come on, let's move on to the next example. The municipality built this garden. My tuition fee will be paid by my uncle. Work was not finished by her. Is a car being driven by me? So which one of this is in the active voice? That is, which one of it is not in the passive voice? So it is option number 1. The municipality built this garden. Okay, now we will go on to the next and last example here. The letters are delivered. Jane was shot. The car hasn't been cleaned. The teacher praised him. So which one sentence is in the active voice? It is sentence number 4. The teacher praised him is in the active voice. It is not in the passive voice. That is why it is the correct answer. Okay, children. So this was about choosing the incorrect sentences in the passive voice. We now move on to the next pattern. Okay, before that we have one more question. The winner is chosen by a committee. An award is being presented now. Who taught you French? The best movie has been chosen. Okay, so come on, which one is the sentence which is not in the passive voice? It is option number 3. Who taught you French is in the active voice. Okay, now we come to the next pattern, which could be a little tricky for you at times, but remember, when you practice you will become perfect. So pattern 5 says, choose the correct pair of active voice and passive voice verbs. So you have a verb which is in the active as well as passive voice here, and you will have to think about how they are used in a sentence, and you have to select the correct pair. Okay, so here we go. Have sung, had been sung. Swim, will be swim. Is doing, is being done. Shall eat, will eaten. So which one of these pairs is the right one? It is the third one. He is doing the work. So I will say the work is being done by him. So you see, it is a correct pair of active and passive voice verbs. So this is how these questions are to be solved. You have to think about how these verbs will be used in a sentence, and then you have to try and understand whether it is the right option or not. Then coming to the next one here, am eating, is eaten. Was telling, was being told. Had sung, was being sung. Speak, is speaking. So come on, which one is the correct pair of active voice and passive voice? It is the second one. Was telling, was being told. Here again, the tense of the verb is going to help you to find out the answer. Okay, that is one way in which you will be able to arrive at the answer. Of course, then there is practice also. Alright, coming to the next example here. Am reading, is being read. Ate, was eating. Will play, will be play. Has stolen, has being stolen. So which one is the correct one, children? It is the first one. I am reading this book. This book is being read by me. Alright, so which one is the correct pair? It is the first one. Then we go to the next question. Loves, had loved. Took, was taken. Has opened, has been opened. Has offered, has been offered. So come on, which one is the right one? It is the third one. Has opened, has been opened. Coming to the second last pattern that we have in this particular video, fill in the blanks with the correct option. Those who are weak dash. So what phrase will come here? Will it be those who are weak should helps? Those who are weak is helped? Those who are weak should be helped? Or those who are weak should be helping? So which one do you think is the right phrase which will fit into this blank? So it is option number 3. Those who are weak should be helped. Okay, so see how the sentence is perfect now. Moving to the next example here, we have question number 26 in this video. The enemy dash by us. So is it the enemy have defeated by us? The enemy has been defeated by us? The enemy is defeating by us? Or the enemy defeated by us? So which one is the right one? So it is option number 2. Has been defeated. So you will say the enemy has been defeated by us. Okay, coming to the next question or next example, no survivors dash. So is it no survivors were founded, no survivors are fined, no survivors could found, or no survivors could be found? So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Which one is the correct option? It is option number 4. No survivors could be found. Okay, let's move on to question number 28, where we have the boy dash by my brother. The boy was seeing by my brother. The boy is seeing by my brother. The boy was seen by my brother. The boy was been seen by my brother. So which do you think is the right phrase to fit in here? 1, 2, 3 or 4? It is option number 3. Was seen. The boy was seen by my brother. And thus we come to the last example in this pattern. Fill in the blanks with the correct option, and that is question number 29 in this particular lesson. He dash by my question. He is annoyed by my question. He annoys by my question. He is annoying by my question, or he was being annoyed by my question. 1, 2, 3, 4. Which one is the correct one? It is yes, the first one. He is annoyed by my question. We go to the last pattern that we have for today. That is, choose the correct answer for the given question. So we are going opposite, in the opposite direction. We selected answers. Now we are selecting the answer for a particular question which has been given to us. So here is the question. Is the work complete? So what will you say? No, it has been completed. No, it is being completed. No, it is completed. Or no, it will be completed. So what will you say? Is the work complete? You will say option number 2. No, it is being completed. Okay, so we are still in the process of completing this work. Now, coming to the next question. Has the thief been arrested? So will you say yes, he arrested? Will you say yes, he has been arrested? No, he was arrested yesterday. Or no, he will be arrested later. So what will be the correct answer here? It will be option number 4. No, he will be arrested later. Because if you say no, he was arrested yesterday, means it is wrong. If he has been arrested, you should say yes. You should not say no. And the remaining are all wrong structurally. Coming to question number 32. Can we enter the bus? No, the bus was being cleaned. No, the bus has been cleaned. No, the bus is being cleaned. No, the bus will be cleaned later. So what will you say? Will you talk about now, or will you talk about yesterday, or will you talk about tomorrow? Yes, it depends on what is the tense of the question. Okay, so the answer is the third one. No, the bus is being cleaned. Coming to the question number 33, which is also the second last question in this particular video. Did you have fun at the party? So what will you say? Will you say, yes, I did? Or will you say, no, I wasn't? Will you say, yes, I had? Or will you say, yes, I have? What will you say? 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, select an option. What is it? It is option number 1. Yes, I did. Did you have fun at the party? Yes, I did. Okay, coming to the last question for you in this particular video. Are you planning to go tomorrow? So you will say, yes, I couldn't. Will you say, no, I will go? Will you say, yes, I can't? Or will you say, yes, I might? Might. What will you say? If you want to go, if you're planning to go, but you're not sure whether you'll be able to go or not, you will say option number 4, yes, I might. Whereas yes, I couldn't, no, I will go, yes, I can't. These are all wrong answers. Okay, children. So this was the video in 2 parts where we talked about voice, that is active voice and passive voice, where we saw that active voice gives more importance to the subject and the passive voice gives more importance to the verb or the action. Okay, we also saw 7 patterns of questions and we saw examples in each of them. So now please watch the entire video and try to do the tasks also that I have set for you.